Well, shall we start? We will still accept late stragglers, but welcome to Toronto Comic Con, the Saw panel. You were a little bit fierce crowd. There's no more loyal and vehement fans than horror fans, so thank you very much for coming out. Obviously, you're all big fans of the franchise, like myself. The 7th installment in the Saw franchise will be hitting theaters October 2010. Love how they arrive like clockwork, and as you all probably know by now, Inglorious 3D, which we're all very excited about.
That's right.
So obviously any con is all about the fans, and this panel is no exception, so we're going to be taking your questions, so feel free to come up with some. But first, let me introduce our distinguished panel. First off at the end, Mr. Jim Murray, who is props master. He has been with the Saw franchise since #2, right through all of them, up to and including 7. Beside him is Alex Kavanagh, costume designer. And she's also been with the franchise since #2. And Dan Hefner has been with Saw since #1 as co-producer on the first few and now executive producer of the Saw films. And of course, the star of Saw 7 as well as a number of the other Saw films, number 3 through 7, Costas Mandylor. You know him. And last but certainly not least, Betsy Russell, Jill, wife of John Kramer / Jigsaw, been with the franchise since #3. And right at the top, I want to mention that Costas and Betsy will be signing autographs. That's tomorrow at 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And the doors that you came in, the Saw booth, is conveniently located right beside the Space booth. You can't miss it when you come in. So 11 to 3, Costas and Betsy signing autographs tomorrow. So I'm going to open up to the floor, but first, I just want to ask, I want to make this panel go right back to the beginning of the Saw franchise and give a bit of a history and chat about that. But let's start with number 7, the 7th installment, 2010. It's going to be in 3D. Maybe Dan, you can start. When was the decision made to go 3D with Saw?
We've been working on that for a long time. It's been over a year since we first were asked to think about it, and it's coming to fruition now. We have about 10 days left of shooting.
So you're in the middle of shooting the 7th installment right now, correct?
More towards the end, but yes.
Cool. And as fans know, the Saw franchise in part is really cool for us as Canadians because they're all, I believe with the exception of the first one, all shot up here in Toronto, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So Costas and Betsy, what's it been like for you? Is this your first 3D film? And what has it been like bringing Saw into the 3D realm on set?
Slow.
It's been slow?
Really, really slow. It takes hours to set up every shot. And we have a lot of time to think about what we're going to do next. So it's actually kind of cool. And it's really fun, really tedious. We are shooting it in 3D. It's not being converted to 3D.
Right.
And I don't know, the crew is pretty amazing that they went to school for this or went to seminars and got good at it quick. And it's pretty much the same crew we've always used. And they're just, stepping it up, and it's really, really going to be a great movie, so come see it.
And what about you, Costas? How does Hoffman change when we see him in 3D?
Bolder, shorter. I haven't seen a 3D movie, but it is different to make it this way. But apparently it's in your face, and everybody's pretty excited with what they're seeing so far. And I can't wait to see it, and hopefully the fans will love it.
That's great. And Jim and Alex down at the end there. What's it been like shooting the 7th installment for you? Jim, you were one of the design team behind the traps, and Alex, you put everybody in these lovely clothes that promptly get splattered in blood and guts. So what's number 7 been like to shoot thus far? Tell us about the traps.
It's slow. It is a slow process. It's a lot more detail. Everything is sharp, which there's nothing that's not in focus. And on the previous saws, we can if we know it's in the background, we just kind of paint it so it looks good. But now we have to paint it so it looks great. So we have to take that all into consideration, and you have to kind of think around the corner as well. You're not just seeing it flat; you're seeing dimensions of things. So you have to really think outside the box. So for us, working on the previous movies, we kind of had to reinvent certain things, and there's a lot of discussion that goes on amongst us to make it look real and good. So it's just another element. It's actually great to work in 3D because I think a lot of movies are going to go that way. So to get this experience is going to really help us out in our careers. And it's just a different challenge every day where it's like you really have to think 3D when you do a 3D movie. You can't just think 2D. which we have to do, and that's what we've done in the past. So it's just, you just have to really rethink everything.
Cool.
Yeah, for us, when you're shooting a 3D movie, and we were lucky enough to be able to actually go to some other sets that were happening in Toronto to look at what they were doing for their 3D film, you do have to think of it in 3 planes. So for the production designer, Tony, he had to get the saw texture happening in the background. And as Jim said, because it's not just 3D, it's HD 3D. So that's the problem for us, is that going from 35 mil to shooting HD, that changes everything. So when then to get for the 3D, you need to have what we call depth cues. So you want to have stuff that in the middle ground is then standing up in the background. And then for us, for costume, we want them to the actors to stand up in the background and the middle ground. So it's really about color blocking and making sure that there's textures and stuff happening so that it'll create the best 3D experience possible for the audience.
Well, even though it seems like it's a lot more work for you guys, we're very excited that it's a lot more work as fans, and we're really looking forward to it. And first off, can everybody hear everybody? Are we getting too much noise from back there? I just hate it when I go to a panel and I can't hear anything. You're good? Cool. So just lastly, before we open it up, I want to ask you, and especially you, Costas and Becky, when we do an episode of or Betsy, sorry, when we do an episode of our show, Interspace, when we do an episode of our show, Interspace, and we even have like remotely serious conversation, we feel the need in between, commercial breaks to really screw around and laugh a lot. I can't imagine shooting a soft film. What's it like in between takes? I mean, you joke around a lot on set, or is it serious?
I'm very serious. I don't fool around at all on the set.
Not a bit.
Just today. Between all the madness, you got to have some fun, right? And I do my best to do that.
That's it.
I thought it was really hysterically funny in the makeup room a few weeks ago when somebody's body part was missing. And everyone was going around going, I can't believe this bleeping leg is gone. Who would have stolen this leg? It's ridiculous. I was like, don't you have an extra leg? And thank God they did, but just another day in the sauna makeup room.
Just to add to that, I don't think these guys get enough praise, but the prosthetic guys, Francois and his team, are so unbelievable. And you guys have seen everything, right? Those guys should be winning awards at the Scream Awards or something, because when you walk in and you see Tobin Bell, remember that time when he was dead before they ripped him open? Mm-hmm. I walked in and there was a naked Tobin Bell on the table. And I went, oh, put a towel on the man. I mean, that's how realistic how real he looked and how good these guys are. So I just want to praise them in front of you.
Was it an anatomically correct figure?
I suspect it's possible. Well, they're that good.
They're that good? Any
Yes,
We actually, Costas was built the same way as the Billy.
That's modeled, right?
I think he's just smarter than I am.
I should mention as well, this weekend there's going to be some great props on display, including Jigsaw's tape recorder. There's also, I believe, the pig mask, and only one of the 6, you see it there, that's only one of 6, isn't that right? Jigsaw dolls that were made for the series.